Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This committee is beginning to develop legislation to accelerate the development of new cures and treatments. And to do that effectively, we must start with where medical innovation comes from. Real innovation comes from NIH. A recent analysis by Harvard researchers found that most of our truly transformative drugs are based on insights gained through federally funded research. Another analysis found that 2/3 of the 21 highest impact drugs approved between 1965 and 1972 stem directly from public sector research. The private sector commercializes these discoveries, but they would never happen in the first place without strong government support. Now, the industry knows this. The Biotechnology Industry Organization testified that, quote, there is no private sector alternative for much of the basic research that NIH supports. John Castellani, President and CEO of Pharma, has said that, quote, government-supported basic research is one key to how we collectively progress in discovering novel compounds for addressing patients' unmet medical needs. Dr. Austin, do you agree that many of the drugs on the market today are based on scientific insights gained through NIH or other publicly funded research?
Absolutely. It's a fact.
It's a fact. Good. We'll go with that. And Dr. Pettigrew, in addition to providing the basic science used to develop new drugs, can you describe other ways that we benefit from NIH-funded research?
Thank you for the question, Senator. And I think the issue really here is impact, as you pointed out. This is a process that is a continuum. It starts with basic science. The objective of basic science is to understand the laws of nature. And with that understanding, we're more informed about how things work and what goes wrong. That leads to fashioning solutions to these problems. And then those solutions have to be translated. So the other things that we do at the NIH is to integrate that knowledge with our ability to invoke the practical solutions and design them through engineering and the physical sciences along with the life sciences to fashion such solutions to the kinds of problems you identified.
Dr. Austin, would you like to add anything to that?
A couple of things. The first is that I can speak from both sides of this because I'm a basic researcher by training, but I'm also a clinician, and I also spent many years in the pharmaceutical industry, so I've seen all sides of it. Fundamental science is the seed corn on which all interventions are based, and it's necessary, but almost never sufficient. This is a very long process of going from what fundamental science does, which is fundamentally to figure out how something works normally, and when it breaks, why does it break? But then the issue is how to fix it. And how to fix it actually requires a quite different skill set in any field from figuring out why it's broken. And translation is really to fix it. And that's a completely different field. And sometimes there's a feeling that the intervention to improve what's broken happens kind of naturally, and it's well worked out about how to do this, and we know how to do it. The fact is, as Dr. Woodcock was saying, our understanding of this process is extremely poor. The science underlying the translational process is extremely poor, and our operational structures to do it are extremely poor. So I would say, yes, the basic science is the seed corn of everything, but it requires enormous energy to get through the next 10 or 15 years to actually have an intervention which improves human health. And that's what we're working on.
Dr. Woodcock, I see you nodding yes. Would you like to add an amen to that?
Well, I think it is I think Dr. Austin put it extremely well. It's very underappreciated. And I'm sure you all have researchers coming to you, because I do all the time, saying, I discovered this. It should be treating people tomorrow, all right? And actually then when you think it takes 15 years to get from a discovery to actually treatment, people really don't understand what goes in between there. But there's an enormous amount of work and effort, and frankly, at that stage, I have a discovery stage, it's 10,000 compounds getting down to one that actually gets approved. And that isn't because of FDA requirements, that's because of the scientific process.
So let's just stay focused on that about the scientific process then, if we're talking about innovation. We have to be blunt. Medical research funding in this country is in crisis. Since 2003, the NIH budget has not even kept pace with inflation. Its purchasing power is down about 25%. To increase medical innovation, the NIH needs more resources. We've got to keep this pipeline going. Last week in the New York Times, Newt Gingrich said that when it comes to breakthroughs that could cure, not just treat, but cure the most expensive diseases, government is unique. It alone can bring the necessary resources to bear, and it is ultimately on the hook for the costs of illness. It is irresponsible and short-sighted, not prudent, to let financing for basic research dwindle. I agree. If we want medical innovation in this country, we need to double down on support for NIH. If we want to improve the quality of life for Americans and reduce federal health care spending, we need to double down on NIH spending. This committee has a chance to make a real difference, Mr. Chairman, but that chance begins with support for the NIH. Thank you.